On action.
Hi everyone, today I'm going to be showing you the basics of landscape drawing. The subject we're working from today is a piece that I made of Pemaquid Lighthouse in Maine. It was auctioned off at a fundraiser up there. I'm very proud of it. I thought it would be a good one to show you some basics. Now in landscape drawing, you quite often do not want to have your horizon in the center of the page. You want it to be either higher or lower than it. It makes for a better composition. For instance, this lighthouse is a little lower than the center of my page. It can look daunting at first. It looks very complicated, but it's not. All we need to do is break it down into basic shapes. So I'm going to start as usual on my page with laying in my shapes with my dark pencil. Again, at home you will do this lightly. I'm doing it dark for the camera. All right, let's get started. So we have basic shape. We have here is a cylinder, a cube, for that part of the house. A couple of houses and roofs back here. We have a path. We have trees and bushes, a rock formation, and a fence. The fence is a little complicated. We're going to leave that for last. We also have the shapes of the clouds in the sky. Okay, so let's get started locating all our elements. I'm going to look and see how far down from the page the lighthouse's tip is. And that's rather a square, that top part. A square, you might say. Don't worry, we'll get back to that. Now, I need to move this over a bit. My location was not correct. I need more room from here to here. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect now, right? We're just laying it all in. This is like a cone, this shape. And we have the house. Okay, so I'm going to measure down from here. The angle of the roof goes down, goes into the lighthouse a bit, and this is our cube shape. Don't worry about the fence right now. And don't worry about perspective right now. We will get to that. So because I can't see the bottom very well of this lighthouse, I'm just going to add this line here. Again, I'm finding my locations. I'm going to depart from the lighthouse top and just rough in where my cloud is. Quite often in landscape drawing, you want to make just a few lines, because if you were going to paint your landscape, your lines you would go over your lines anyway. Okay. Now there is a little bit. So here I am at the house, rooftop. I'm going to go down from the rooftop, locate the trees, go into that. Now how far do I go with those trees before I hit this roof line? Again, this is like a straight line all the way across. A tree. Now to rough in your foliage in a landscape, I like to just very loosely use the side of my pencil and get the basic shape of that tree. And there's the trunk. And look, it's below, so we're in the right location. It's below the bottom of the lighthouse. Okay, so from here, I say, okay, this tree, we have another cube, and it's here. So we have two roofs. We have an orange roof, and we have a gray roof. We're not going to worry about the details just yet. Let's just get the locations right. A bush, and we're going to go across to there. Okay, so this has a winding path. What I'd like to do to make it easier for you guys, and it also has a rock formation there, which is one of the most beautiful parts of Maine. Oh, those beautiful, beautiful rocks. So I'm going to simplify this path for you right now. Okay? And this is what you would be doing if you were out in the landscape. Just these simple lines, simple, simple, simple. I'm going to do an oval for that rock shape, and then there's another rock shape that is under the lighthouse about here. We'll go back and draw the details of that later. Now over here is a hedgerow. And the best thing you can do when you have a lot of bushes is just think about this shape. So I have a shape here of a bush. There's one that comes to the path here. This is a good drawing if you're a nervous person or if you've had a lot of caffeine, because you want these lines to be like this. You want them to be textured and feeling like foliage. There is a large plant here that goes all the way from there to there, right? And then we have grass that goes this way. Use your strokes for the direction of your landscape. For instance, this is a path that is on the ground. We wouldn't want to use strokes that were up and down. All right, what's on the other side of this tree? I'm going to think more about that roof. You see this line angles down. Where is that window? Where is that window in the lighthouse? Not quite in the center, a little bit to the left. Now, if you were going to make a painting, these are the only lines you would use. And that's why we need to learn to draw, because our lines will get covered with paint. So while you're painting, you have to be constantly drawing. Alrighty, let's get back to this. Okay, so let's check our areas and our proportions. The fence, what I like to do with a fence is locate the vertical posts first. And I do a lot of fences because I do a lot of horse portraits. So what I like to do with a fence is locate the verticals first. Do they go down? Where are they in location to this house here? This fence is a winding fence. It's not straight, so it is a challenge. Here's my window. I'm going to go down with this vertical. Now you can do just a simple line for the horizontals. That one's going to go down a little bit. Bottom rail parallel with the top rail. So we'll worry about all the other parts later. Okay. So I'm going to now take out the lighter one I did earlier. This is how light you will draw your location lines at home. Just for time's sake, I do it ahead of time so we can speed along here. All right, so now we feel we have our locations correct, our size and our proportions correct. Let's start with detail. Alrighty, so I'm going to start with this roof. Again, we will talk about perspective another time. Some people are afraid of it. It's not that scary. I don't know if my distance is from here to here is right yet, but I'm going to start with that. Then I'm going to go get the angle of the lighthouse. I'm going to go across from here to here. Remember, it's all about relationships. What is my width? Right now I'm just thinking about the sides and down. Now I might have gone too low or forgotten about that part of it. We won't worry about that right now. So the top is an ellipse, and we've talked about ellipses before. So I'm going to hold my pencil loosely, and I'm going to go do the curve of the top of that lighthouse. I'm not going to worry about it exactly yet. I want to make sure that my locations are super perfect before I do that. All right, so that was the square we had done before, and I'm going to go to the roof. So that is a very pretty, graceful shape like this, kind of a triangle, and then the circle, the base, and the point. At this time I can look at it and say, okay, am I the right distance from here to here? And I have 1, 2, 3 lines in there. Let's start with the first two. They're on either side of this. Third line. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So I want to go over a bit more on this side. And not have such an angle. Not worrying about erasing yet. So remember, the ellipse, we don't just stop. We go around and around. All right, let's do more detail in our clouds. So clouds are a great thing to study. Usually they're very puffy and soft on the top and have a straighter or harder line on the bottom. The inside of my cloud, because we're doing a drawing, I'm going to just do very little straight lines for the inside of the lighter blue inside of the cloud to indicate those areas. Now here we have the bottom of the cloud. See how this goes straight across? So that's a good thing to draw when you're landscape drawing. You're pretty safe with that. The lighthouse has a shadow. I'm going to place that in now. and this one to remind me later. Okay. We're going to come down from this. Make sure as you're starting our detail that we have our roofs right. So that's the bottom of your cloud, and these are your trees. So as you don't get confused, I will just we're not doing a value drawing right now, we're just sticking with a line drawing. I'm going to do that so I remember those are my trees. Roof, straight down, the line across here, and we have some windows here. And it's just the slightest indication. It doesn't have to be an exact drawing. You can just give a little hint. Now my squiggly lines and a few lines in front to show that that's a bush. Nice and curvy. Okay, back up to the tree. Let's look at that shape of that tree. Now, when I'm going to show you in the future how to do foliage in color, but for pencil drawings and sketches, I like to just do lines like this for the foliage. Alrighty, where should we depart from now? I'm going to go back up to this window. So it's not exactly halfway, right? It's over here. So I'm going to go down. Again, we can always fix it if it's not right. Gutter or fascia board. I like to watch a lot of this old house. Okay, so this window, what are the details of this window? There's a sash here. And this window has a bit of a ledge down this way, and you can see a bit of a curtain right there. Let's add our fence posts. I'm here at the window, down. One, two. There's an area here that's darker. I don't know if it's a few fence posts. This part of the house. Over past the window. And a fence post here. Our top line. The top rail. Remember, it's on a hill, so the fence is not totally even. And that makes for a more interesting drawing as well. Okay, we'll come back to that later. Let's tackle the rocks. So the rocks are angular as opposed to soft and round of the foliage. I'm going to do the contour now of what I think that rock looks like. So here we had done the round circle for the rock that's up here. How far is it down from the fence? Okay. Let's follow that around to the light area. We're going to draw the contour of the light area. And that is really a main seaside shale rock. I think it's called a shale. So the structure of this rock is that it's going to be coming down to the ground. So because it's in shadow, I'm going to do my lines this way to get started. Because that is the structure of the rock. And it's darker than your path. Take 2 little rocks here. Get that shape right. And there's a little bit of the side that's in shadow. Again, I'm just doing a line drawing so I can see where I am. Okay, we're going to go over to the bushes now. You can add more foliage lines at this point. It's branches. This bush had a lot of branches. You can sketch in where those would be. Make more definite. If you're sure of your location, get that bush in there. This shape is more this way. I'm going to put this one a little lower. And this was my plant that came down like this. Most of these bushes were beach plums. I love beach plum plants by the seaside. Okay, now, as I'm here at my fence, at my bush, I realize, I forgot about my fence there. Just a couple of little lines. So now our hill is going down. So you would do your lines this way to indicate this is your grass. This is your flat area. Going to go back up to here. And I'm going to, here's my path. Remember I made just 2 simple lines like this before. But now I want to look at the complications of it. All right, where does that shadow stop? There. A couple of lines. The bush. The path's going to come in this way. Some grass here. This comes out further. This is in further. And again, you can erase these lines. Go back up to the fence now. Let's just do, you can count them for real, I like to, but for these purposes today, I'm just going to put some vertical lines. I like to be exact. Again, you're working quickly because you're usually outside, especially on your cloud formations because they will change. And if you have to come inside because it's dinner time or you have to leave your piece, you can always come back to it. This is an area of grass and shade, so I'm going to do my horizontal lines again there. Now, because I know you're up for this, we have another rock formation here, but you can do it. The path splits, but in 2 ways, but I know you can do it. Just add in a little area here for now. And then you'll draw your rock there. Okay. Ready to tackle the top of the lighthouse? It can look daunting, but it's really very easy. I use my clouds to help me decide the height and double check the height of my lighthouse. So I have the piece of cloud comes in here, goes across, there's a little bit of cloud up to here and down. Okay, We're going to go back to this black here. Get that. This is going to take time, but it goes around the piece. I'm not taking time to erase here because I want this to be quick. Trying to get that angle. All right, now the two wire fencing areas are going to be the same ellipse as this. So do your distance from here to here. 1, 2. Decide if you like that distance. How does it compare to this? And again, the natural curve of your hand. And these are going around the building. So I want you to practice going around and seeing where this line ends. All right, so this top one ends here. All right, relationships, where does it end? And location. On this side, it comes out a little further than this edge, the lower one. I'm going to add some more detail right now at the top of the lighthouse. How far up from here is this ending, and how far in the lighthouse is it? What is the angle this way? There's a bit of a neck and a circle, a sphere, I should say. And as you know, with spheres, where is the light source? Light source is coming from here, so this side and this side are light. So that's the basics of landscape drawing. Remember your proportions. You don't necessarily want something in the middle of the page or halfway. Be loose, be free, enjoy it, find your locations. There's always time back in your home to perfect it. And what I'd like for you to do now is to add color if you'd like and share it with me. Oops, gotta sign it. See you next time.